Hi friends, my name is Sashya Clark with www.sashyaclark.com or Sashya the CaTellyst. I just wanted to hop on here and pass along a little bit of my experience with having students at home to those of you that have been blessed with the opportunity to be able to socially isolate during this time. I just want to say I hope that you enjoy your time with your children, and I hope that you find a way to make a rhythm or a system that works for you. I've been homeschooling part-time since 2008 and full-time since 2010, and I retired from a 12-year career. I'm a college graduate. I'm a product of the public school system myself, and I had a great experience with the public school system, and I love education. I love learning. And so my oldest was just struggling in a couple of subjects, and so I started tutoring her over the summer, which just naturally evolved into some other things. So I just wanted to get on here and give you a few tips about that transition time when I retired from my job outside of the home to be home full time, and how that kind of worked out, because that's a really hard transition for me. It was, and it can be for a lot of families. So first of all, I want you to know that you're not becoming a homeschooler. You're just trying to make something work for a temporary period of time. And so if you're looking at 2 or 3 weeks, the main thing to ask yourself is what are our main goals? Is your main goal for them to continue their education like nothing's happened, which is probably not realistic, especially since most of their textbooks and lesson plans and all that stuff are probably still at the building? Or is your main objective to take the skills that they need to work on, like spelling and math, handwriting, and those things, and really keep drilling those things so that they don't atrophy while over the break? And then the other thing that might be on your mind is keeping your kids from getting bored, because when they're bored, they want to go out and socialize, or they start bickering a lot more. So yeah, trying to keep them engaged. One of the things that I thought was a huge transition for me when I first started working from home instead of working outside of the home is that I felt this compulsive need to get out of the house every day. So I think, in alignment with what the CDC is recommending, I still think it would be appropriate for you and your children to go out for a walk every day. Or my kids have just recently gotten involved with Pokemon Go. And I know that sounds silly, but we literally can just get in the car and go drive near Pokestops in town and pick up Pokeballs. And we don't get out of the car. So we're not actually, I don't feel like we're risking anybody's health by just aimlessly driving around town picking up Pokeballs and catching Pokemon. And the kids are entertained a little bit, but it gets us out of the house. So maybe part of your current routine is to be out of the house by 8 o'clock, drive them to school or daycare or wherever, get a coffee, and go to work. Well, instead of doing all of that in that direction, you can get out of the house by 8 o'clock still, keep your rhythm, go get some Pokemon or whatever you're going to do, grab your coffee, and come home and start school then. Because I don't know why, but leaving the environment was such a huge piece for me at first. Now, I've been doing it a long time, so I've eventually gotten to the point where I can just get up and we get dressed and we go through our morning routine and then we start school, and it's fine. But I needed that transition piece. So we did leave for nature walks every morning before we started school when I first was transitioning. So yeah, walking around the neighborhood, if you don't touch any surfaces, I think that's perfectly safe too. Getting a little fresh air certainly isn't going to hurt anyone. The other tip I wanted to give you was I had no idea that I was going to quit a 12-year career to basically be a personal chef for 3 hobbits. So I have 4 kids, 3 of them are hobbits, and they seriously are hungry all the time. So menu planning has taken on a whole new dimension for me. And if you want some tips about that, you'll have to private message me. I can get into more of that later. But yeah, I had to come up with kind of a meal system. Otherwise, I was cooking from scratch 3 times a day, and it was driving me crazy. So unless your dream was to be a personal chef, that's probably going to annoy you after a couple of days. So the other thing is just really harnessing that responsibility. I think that my daughter, especially my oldest, when she was in the public school, she had a lot of things she took care of herself. And so we had to kind of figure out together what she could take care of inside the home now. So all my kids have chores. One of my boys is old enough to take care of breakfast every morning, which keeps me from having to be a personal chef 1 time a day, which is really nice. So be thinking, your 8, your 9, your 10-year-olds, even older, they can take on some responsibilities with some of the younger kids for now. It's just temporary. And then the other thing is just asking a lot of good questions. My experience with public school is that we didn't have a lot of time to really get into discussions in the classroom because there's a lot of kids and we're all at different levels, and so anyway, you have this unique opportunity when you're doing your schoolwork with your kids, to have in-depth conversations. So don't feel like you have to lecture anything like a teacher. What you're trying to find out is, what do they know and what do they want to know? So lots of questions about, well, what's the definition of, or what's the relationship between this concept and this concept? And just using conversations to help them connect some dots is very helpful. And I find that approach to teaching works really good with kids that are 6, 7, and 8 and older. Kindergarten, first grade, I feel like my experience with them has been that they do tend to just need to get that repetition so that they can engrave it in their minds. But older kids, they have some of this stuff memorized, so they can start having, dialectic conversations about it. So anyway, also a couple online things that might help you. There's a game out there called Prodigy Math. My kids love playing it. They have to do math facts to get spell power to be able to fight these bad guys. So that's kind of fun. Prodigy Math. There is some online ways that they can do math drills, like multiplication tables and stuff like that. Matthew C. and Khan Academy are also some great resources that you could do for math. Khan Academy also has lectures on almost everything. I mean, they have history stuff on there. They have chemistry, anatomy, whatever. So you can kind of pick and choose what your student might be interested in. And Amazon and Netflix. I mean, we've found some great histories, documentaries, and different things that are available on those sites. What else was I going to say? Oh, screen time. One last word about screen time. I know this is almost 7 minutes long, but last tip about screen time. Use screen time to your advantage. I have observed, especially with my boys, that unrestricted amounts of screen time makes them actually less patient, less tolerant, and less easy. I mean, they're just harder to deal with. So, and they are also smart enough to know that if they act irritable or like they get in your hair too many times while you're trying to get some work done, that you will tell them to go ahead and turn the TV on so you can have some peace and quiet. And so then they'll just act badly. So you'll get to that point where you'll hit that red button and excuse yourself. So I know you're trying to get some work done while you're at home. So use the screen time to your advantage. For example, accomplishing XYZ for your schoolwork today gets you a half an hour of screen time, and make them work for their screen time so that they're not just sitting there vegging out, and then every time you ask them to do something, they're just really super resistant, or they start bickering. My kids bicker a lot when they have too much screen time. So anyway, I hope some of this helped. Again, be realistic with yourself. Give yourself a lot of grace. This is not something you're signing up for, and I wish you the best of luck. Please private message me, send me an email at sashya.clark@gmail.com if you have any questions or you want some extra information, and I hope this helps. Have a great day.